And here's all the amplifiers. These are all handmade. SBS Designs is my product line, so it's handmade in America, 10-year warranty. This is an old product line that I had started years ago. That I came from that and created SBS Designs. These are one-of-a-kind amplifiers as well. So, and then it moves on to the monitor racks, crossovers, equalizers. This is the sound system crossover. It's the S3X, which is an SBS Slammer crossover. Allows you to control the sub-bass volume separate from your full range, your tweeter arrays that hang from the ceiling. And then here's the newer version of the SBS Designs amplifiers. So it allows you to have everything in the rack in an air-conditioned, climate-controlled space, so the amplifiers can perform their best and have reliability because they're in a real clean, safe environment.
Gotcha. So if you're just joining us, we're here at Analog BKNY in Brooklyn with Craig Shorty of SBS Slammer, and we're looking at the rig that was built and designed for the purpose of this space. So we're actually going to take a look at the space right now. So if you follow us, and you will see that we are in Analog, and we're going to be joined by another two people, Ron and Ryan from Rect.
Hello.
Who are going to be performing at the Trade Show USA event on May 13. And they're here because they are they're here because Rect is one of the residents at Analog.
Yeah.
And so, how did you guys end up playing? How did you guys end up in this club?
Well, basically, it was our 5-year anniversary and my birthday party, and our venue that we were going to use somewhere out in Bushwick canceled on us on the Thursday prior to the Saturday event. So in a crazy fashion, we were calling around to everyone, going and checking out every venue. And yeah, finally a friend, Jen Lyon, hooked us up with Michael Bruno because everyone's like, just do analog, just do analog. But it was just a bit out of our general, where general population would hang out. But everybody came, it was great. The first event rocked, we loved the sound system. So we just stuck with it. Yeah.
And
yeah, because normally we do parties like in Williamsburg, Greenpoint, so kind of closer to Manhattan. That was kind of the logic. But so when it came down to like, oh, this is a great venue out in Gowanus, like let's just give it a try. And the sound system had a great reputation, so it just seemed like let's give it a go and see how great of a fit it is.
And then you get people here and they stay here, so that's the good thing. And they, they really get into the party and the vibe. And it's not like you get party hoppers and stuff. It's definitely a destination, so people really stick around and earn it for the haul, I'd say.
Right. You were mentioning that it was the first party that they brought here was kind of fun because it lasted like a day and a half.
Oh, we wish. No, actually, I don't wish anymore. I'm getting too old for that.
It was fun, because the party's really it's off the wall. It's really musically, it's incredible what they bring. And what I like about it from a sound enthusiast point of view, and dancing a little bit, is that I get to hear records. It's like that challenges the sound system. It's like, oh, this is interesting. Let's see how the system can put it out. And musically, it's like there's some of the widest variety of music. I think they dropped Fleetwood Mac one night in the middle of 5 a.m. packed. It's kind of crazy. So it's
like shirts off, hands in the air moments, until
that's great.
Fleetwood Mac goes into techno.
So they challenge each other. It's like they follow each other at times, and it's just a really killer party.
Yeah.
And having someone like Craig around who's been around and worked with a lot of great DJs and DJs that I would only see names on records back when I was starting to buy records in the 80s, and then he would tell me stories, and just knowing that he was doing this, when I pull records for a record party, I have even greater faith behind the music I can pull for it, because I know even if they don't get it, the system will help them understand it, and Craig really gets it. So it's kind of cool to see him run up to the booth and think, man, this sounds so great next to all this other kind of stuff.
With my laundry list. They're like, look, we can't give you the name of every record. You're in this booth too much.
Yeah.
His whole arm is like tattooed with
Don't make sure the tweeters are working.
Yeah, but I think we, play around with like New York history a bit, stuff that's coming out of Europe and the US, like currently. We also play to a largely gay male audience, I would say, at this party. So we have to keep the gays happy with vocals, and so we definitely push their parameters, I would say, in their comfort zone, but we also have to pull them back and give them something that's familiar so they keep on dancing and look forward to those familiar moments. So yeah.
You mentioned earlier on that playing here give you an interesting experience with like digital files and the sort of quality that you bring here. That you said that like you realize that if you play a good quality digital file, it really makes a difference on a system like that.
Well, Ron plays a lot of vinyl as well, so I tend to be more digital because I'm a little shaky naturally. So you hear a lot of flying needles and scratches. But moreover, I was playing like 320 and thought that was generally fine prior to playing here, and then I can really hear the difference from 320 to AIFF just because there's no compressors, no limiters, so you're really getting the full sound. And if you want to give people the full sound, you got to give them the files that are the full sound. So I think that's something that's become really clear to me here, and now I only buy like large AIFF files pretty much.
Makes us also very selective about stuff, because even though it's this general thing that's going out that as soon as like you can hear the bass in a certain song or a tremendous amount of volume, that's just in the red. I mean, that's just to get your attention. It doesn't mean it's actually composed very well. So it makes you extra picky about the things you want to bring to this party and play, and also represents how we, the talent that we want to bring here. Make sure that they understand that and are going to be easy and comfortable with it too. So it's kind of really upgraded the philosophy of our party as well.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put you on the spot about that one, but I think it's an interesting
thing. Oh, no, it's fine.
Because a lot of people probably have that experience of the different digital formats and the qualities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've become a little bit more snobby about it recently, I guess, and I was a firm thinker in the realm that 320 is generally fine, and it probably is for a lot of sound systems, but I just have started to really notice the difference. It just comes across as louder, more full. You hear the sound's a lot more richer, I would say. Sure. So
if you're just tuning in, we're here at Analog BKNY with Craig Shorty of SBS Slammer and Ron and Ryan of Wrecked, and we're talking about sound systems and sound and clubbing in New York City. Craig, so you've been around for a minute, and you've seen different generations of New York clubbing come and go. And we were just talking about this thing of, obviously now there's digital and vinyl. I mean, for you as a sound system, as somebody who runs sound systems, somebody who's designed gear for studios, I mean, what would you say it's like today in terms of the people's understanding of sound? Like, is it getting better? Is it still a lot of work?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has gotten better because people are getting frustrated that they'll hear something a certain way, and when they play it out, it might not translate properly. So, with the Slammer technology built and designed around high-end studio philosophies of designing gear, it allows you to really get really wide frequency response, which is why when you play a wave or an AIFF or vinyl over an MP3, you're going to hear a bigger sound, because the amps here are good from as low as 10 hertz up to 100,000 kilohertz, and there's no limiting and no compressors. And everything is done really unique because I have external preamps which are used to bypass the level controls on the mixer, so everything's done with separates. All the CD players have external digital analog converters, so everything is done so you get the purest form and a sonic experience that gets these guys really into playing and having fun in what they're doing, which what it's all about, and the people on the floor getting a really quality, unique experience at the club.
Well, every time we come, he's always like, "I did this and this and this," and explains it all in detail, and I'm just like, "Mm-hmm." I have no idea what he's talking about, but I know it's good. So
I like to challenge myself, and I don't like to be comfortable within what I'm doing. So I like to say, "This isn't reproducing right. I gotta now do this," and then I'll say, "Oh, I did this and this and this." It's like,
cool.
Visually, I guess there are some little touches, not so much necessarily here, but that Twitter array over there that I kind of saw when we came in. But those seem to be kind of like nods to the history of New York sound system culture. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, Alex Rosner, Richard Long, the whole concept of doing the hanging tweeter arrays was to give the illusion of the instruments floating around the dance floor psychologically, and also to not have to force high frequency from the mid-range. So the mid-range can sit laid back, so you could, if I'm leaning against the speaker talking while the system's pumping, while Rec's playing, we could have a conversation about raising our voice, and it's relaxed. So when you leave, you don't get the buzzing and the howling, the hissing in your ears. It's a better experience to listen to music because you.
And then that thing that you just mentioned, sorry to cut you off, but like you said, not coming to a party like you guys and being here for 6 hours and walking out without a headache is both the quality of the music that you're selecting and how you're playing it through the mixer, but then also what you're doing, ensuring that the signal is clean, that it's not being cranked, that it's not forcing people to kind of go constantly higher and higher.
Well, I'd definitely say it's a bit more of the sound system than the tracks, because we could come in and play bangers like, brutal techno, and, if it's a rough sound system, it's definitely going to make your ears ring. If it's a clean sound system, it's definitely a much better experience for the dancer, I would say.
Especially for DJs who normally use, Pioneer mixers and dropping out bass EQ per channel. There's no EQ per channel here. So
that's kind of what I was trying to
the strength of your music, the track, and the appreciation of what you're working with is only going to prove to everybody that's in attendance just how great of a job you're doing and how much respect you have for the venue itself. So it's amazing to try to blend tracks with just. So they have to be really tough, really strong, great musical selections. Yeah.
We can show you the booth.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's go to the booth. If you're just joining us, we're on Facebook Live. We're at Analog BKNY, and we're talking with Rec and Craig Shorty about sound systems and DJing in New York pop culture. And we're getting into the booth at Analog. So, how has this changed how you guys DJ? Why has it changed how you guys DJ?
Well, I think it's kind of like the Yuri here is kind of like a Rolls Royce of mixers, in my opinion. It's just kind of like effortlessly blending sounds. But, like Ron said earlier, you're not able to just drop out the bass, bring in the new bass line. So you're having to, work up one channel and slowly pull back the other. But you can also it's almost like a little more psychedelic in nature, I think, too, because you can just flip up the knob a little more just to bring in certain elements, as they really just meld together. But Ron can chime in a little more with some extra.
I mean, I was also telling some of your colleagues earlier too. When you're bringing in stuff, mixing on this mixer, and the fact there's no compressors, everything is kind of like a live send. So bass frequencies and everything just kind of merge into each other. So you can still ride things over, and you can do them for a long time. But like I was saying earlier, you have to kind of know not pre-program your sets, but kind of have a track and know exactly what it does as you're counting it, as you have another thing over it, and know that those bass, and when it gets heavy, you can kind of bring out that other channel. It gets very technical and very nerdy, but when you're actually doing it, it sounds amazing, and people are really responding to it because they're hearing two things at once, but they've never heard it quite like that before, because normally they hear it, the bass and everything else is dropped out, but I can just hear the vocal over that. This way, you can kind of really play along with back and forth. Very old school Paradise Garage kind of DJing style.
Yeah. What was the decision? Why decide to bring this mixer into the booth?
It's just a workhorse. They don't quit.
Yeah.
So from that aspect of designing a showroom, you want to make sure the engine is going to be there as the purest energy that's coming back to your amp racks. So the better quality of the signal flow, the better quality of racks, can see it, then reproduce to the amplifiers and out to the speakers. So it just, the sine wave is as pure as it could be. And there's a lot of custom components, one-off components. These are membranes that I designed. You adjust your booth volume at this membrane and the main volume at this membrane, and it bypasses the tone stage and the master and the booth output, so you get a wider frequency response. So it's just and set up with everything, so it's the purest, highest quality that it can. This is a vacuum tube expander, so although nuances in the recording, it might get lost and buried, it brings it out. And then you have, external digital analog converters. So the signal, instead of coming out of here, it sends a signal here, and then it comes out. So everything's done, set up a lot like a recording studio and a mastering studio. So it can reproduce to the people an experience they just can't get anywhere else.
It makes us feel like we're producing something as we're DJing, which is a really kind of a rare thing to have at 90% of DJ gigs anywhere. Yeah.
And like you said, the audience vibes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, it's definitely like taking them on an adventure, like, bringing them along on a spaceship ride or something is kind of what we go for, I guess.
And they can lean in and talk to their friends who are dancing, like, God, it's great, right? Yeah, they can still hear each other with that, and it's not grating and loud and aggressive. Yeah.
I was going to say, how does it feel? You guys started a party about 6 years ago, you mentioned, and obviously, there's one of the things with places like New York is spaces are disappearing rather than necessarily appearing.
Yeah.
So what does it feel like to actually find a space like this after 6 years? You know what I mean? It's more like people talk about spaces like this, like, oh, it used to exist and now it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well,
you're in the fortunate position of, well, we found this, and actually
It's dreams do come.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm sure all of us can relate to the times going to the DJ gigs and having to unplug everything, because everybody just came in and threw in their computer and whatever. So, as we've evolved we started 6.5 years ago at the National Underground on Houston, which was kind of a raucous little after-hours spot. But there, the sound system would cut out, various things would happen, which was all a part of the fun and the vibe. From there, we went to a bakery in Williamsburg,
right.
which is kind of fun and random as well. But, the sound system wasn't anything of note. And then from there, we started doing parties with Bunker at Output, which was our first experience, I would say. Well, not our first experience, but as a party, our first experience in like a real sound system and a real booth. So that was definitely great. But yeah, it's definitely awesome to be here and have our sound evolve, with the sound system and have a good fam here and everything. So yeah. So we've been here for 1.5 years now, and it's our favorite spot yet, I'd say.
And you're happy to have managed to create a space that can bring those two worlds together.
Yeah, that was Bruno and I's main idea. Let's just create something that everybody can embrace, and no matter if it's soulful house or disco, or techno or tech house or whatever kind of party, they come in, they just get to enjoy good sound and leave without the ears ringing and all that. So it's. The way Bruno designed the layout of the space itself it's an open canvas. So if you have a parties that just like to do crazy decor, it works.
Right.
So more raw and warehouse feeling,
it works.
This is what it is.
Yeah, and from the dancer's perspective too, it's like, there's a bar on either side. It's very open in the middle, so it's just that black box that everybody wants. It's a comfortable place to dance because you don't constantly have people cutting through to go to an exit or a bar or something like that. So people are on the dance floor, they're dancing, which is awesome. So
which has become a thing as well with a lot of clubs. It's like, especially with smoking bands and things like that, where like people are constantly in and out of spaces. It's like, how do you create a space that can feel like you actually want to stay?
There's a lot of ways to move around and like get out, and it's not like you're really, if you go into the center of the dance floor, it's a bit of work, but you're going to stay there probably for at least a little bit.
So there's definitely a sweet spot for all sound systems, but here there's multiple sweet spots, which is really good. So I see a lot of people just staying in one area and they definitely heard everything, which is a really, really good thing to have.
Yep.
If you're just joining us, we're here at Analog BKNY and we're talking to Wrecked, Ron and Ryan, and Craig Shorty of SBS Slammer, who is a co-owner of the space and the man responsible for the sound system. So if you've been here, this is the man you have to thank for it. I think we're going to wind it down, but perhaps one last question is, which was funny, one of my last questions was, what would an ideal space be like? And it kind of really feels like this is kind of it, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's the classic, box,
Right.
It allows you to really design the sound so it could be even everywhere. It's not a lot of corners that, bass loads up and gets heavy and then you walk down the area, it drops off. So it lets the sound work and expand and reach out to where it's got to go. The way I designed it is so it's even energy, which is really hard to pull off no matter where you're standing, and it works. A lot of people notice it. They say, I can't believe no matter where I'm standing, the energy's not falling off.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, I don't know if we've not brought this up already, but the monitor system in the DJ booth is the exact representation of what they're hearing out on the dance floor, which is tremendously not common, no matter where you are on this planet. So
You're looking at the Twitter arrays on the
yeah,
and I was like, damn,
you
that's
got the
a nice
subs
touch,
back
like-
here as well. So you feel what's on the bottom out there. You can feel it here, not because it's out there, but because it's also in here too. Yeah. So
That is definitely a touch. And that's something
absolutely,
that you.
yeah, it gives you much more confidence in mixing and making the party right. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's a lot of headroom in the monitor system, and it's designed to give you. You know, I'm really against these big bottom-heavy DJ booths because when you have that, the DJs are pushing out the floor harder because they're trying to overcompensate for that. Then the ears get used to it and they close down. Now you got to play this louder and you got to play that louder. So it's more articulation here, but it has the same voicing. And because the monitors are behind you, when you're standing, the subs are behind you, and you're standing at the console, you're in like the sweet spot of underneath the mirror ball to dance with. So they feel and they can understand what they're playing, how they're playing it. If the highs are too high, they can cut that back, you know, and give you a representation of what was there, and they can hear and feel what is being on the floor. And if they really want to hear it, they can shut the monitors off and just get a gauging of it.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been super
Thank
fun. This has been another Facebook Live broadcast as part of the RBM NYC Festival. You can catch Rec on May 13th at the Trade Show USA party.
Yeah, we got a lot of our favorite crews together. Not all, but a lot.
This should be a very fun party. A lot of crews coming from all over the
Yeah, all over the U.S. So
like Honey Sound System from San Fran.
yeah, Spotlight, Men's Room, The Needle Exchange, Honcho. So yeah, a lot of people that are kind of spreading what we're spreading, and Carry Nation locally too. A lot of people that are spreading both locally and around the nation, kind of like our same ethos. So we're all coming together, and
It's like a nice family affair because most of us have actually played each other's parties too. So
but
yeah,
not all of us have come together. Yeah, it hasn't
we have
happened that
under
much.
one roof at the same
Yeah.
time.
I'm glad
We tried a couple chances, but not as big as
Yeah.
this one. So it should be a special night for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you may well hear the SBS Slammer at the Bed-Stuy function party.
Yeah,
on
that
May
should be a lot
7th.
of fun. Looking forward to it. I'm actually working with you guys, and then I'm gonna leave from here.
Oh yeah.
So you're doing your party.
Yeah, we
weekend,
had
right.
Solar
It'd be
and
like
Mush
that.
We
Gum.
can't quit each other, you know.
like a 72-hour day or something like that. All for the good of the
So
party.
they do happen, those
For me it does.
Right.
We did like 12 hours here for New Year's, I think, but that
Yeah,
was about
that was great.
I don't think I'd ever do a 12-hour party again.
Right.
Yeah.
On that good note, we'll see you very soon. Stay tuned for more broadcasts.